I'm doing my presentation on the Southern European Union, Greece, Italy, France, and Spain. So let's get started. Start off with some basics about Greece. Population is 11 million. Capital is Athens. It's also the birthplace of Western civilization. Aristotle, Plato, Pythagoras, a lot of great ideas came from them that helped us develop as a society. Crazy thing is, only 53% have used the internet as of 2011. Some common cultural taboos about Greece. Don't use American OK hand sign as it's offensive to them, as is the halt or stop sign when you put your hand straight up. Don't discuss politics, especially with Cyprus or Turkey. Don't criticize Greek or their culture. Also, asking Greek people about their history and culture goes a long way. Meetings should be planned in advance. Although your Greek counterpart may be late, dress. It's always great for the first impression. Men should wear suits, women dresses, but not too tight. Dinners are a great place to discuss business. It's normally a social outing that lasts several hours. Meetings should always be scheduled far in advance. Always greet with a handshake, smile, eye contact, and a greeting. Several people may speak at once during the meeting, but this only signifies an interesting topic. The Greek economy is a service-based economy. It obviously runs off of tourism, as Athens is one of the most visited places in the world. It's actually the 16th most visited country in the world, 7th in Europe. The economic status of Greece is it's recovering from the 2008 global financial crisis that sent the country tumbling down. They had to go through two multi-billion-dollar euro buyouts. They're still in a recession, but are recovering and should be back to pre-crisis level by 2030. Unemployment reached a high in 2013 from the past 6 years of 27.9%. It is down to 18% now and is slowly declining. If y'all are interested in more information, I've provided a link at the bottom. Here I just broke down some Greek segmentation. Their nationality is 95% Greece, 4% Albanian, 1% just being other, as you can see through the pie chart to the right of the screen. The religion is 97% Greek Orthodox, which should be no shock, as that's where it's originated from. 3% Catholic, Jewish, and Muslim combined. Immigration, they do have immigration laws set in place, and they are very welcoming of outsiders. Just some basic on Greek politics. Start with the government. Pre-1967, constitutional monarchy. 67 to 74, they went through a fascist dictatorship. 74, they switched over to a presidential parliamentary democracy. Their current problems are just getting back to pre-crisis GDP and eliminating their debts, and then fixing a stagnant economy. Now we start off with the basics. Italy, population is 60 million. It covers three sub-regions, the north, central, and the south. There's huge cultural differences in those. Main language is Italian. 58% of people are using internet. The capital is Rome, and it's been influenced by many civilizations over the years. Now on to some taboos of Italian culture. Don't talk about politics, the mafia, family matters, or private income. Don't criticize Italy or Italian culture. Don't make graphic jokes, especially if you don't know the people. Don't make the peace sign, as it can be considered offensive. Although if you make the horns like a little frog, it's considered a good luck sign. Do hug and air kiss cheeks if the relationship is there. If you don't know them, don't do it. And do ask questions about their culture. Just some business culture of Italy. Punctuality. It's common to be late. Should be taken as insult if an Italian is late. If it's going to be 15 minutes, it's okay. You need to call if you're going to be 20 minutes late. Reschedule if you're going to be 30 minutes late. Deadlines tend to be flexible for Italians, so if it's going to be important to you, make sure they know it's important. Bribery and corruption is still somewhat rampant, although bribery is illegal since 2000 in October. This is just a breakdown of the corporate social responsibility of what they've done in the last 20 years. You got 20 national parks, 100 plus national reserves, 80-something regional parks, 197 regional natural reserves, 106 other protected areas, and 16 state marine reserves. We're doing business the Italian way. Initiation. First contact should be written to avoid language barriers. You should address the secretary and be clear who you wish to meet with and why. First meeting or introductions. Firm, quick handshake and greet with a greeting. PSR. Important to establish a relationship first. Dress. Men should wear suits, women pants or skirt suits. Style is a must and a social status indicator, as you are in the country that has Milan and powerhouses like Dolce & Gabbana and Prada. Just some more quick notes about meeting etiquette. There are a few notes taken. Agendas aren't followed very closely. Interrupting the speaker is acceptable occasionally. The stage to reach a conclusion more quickly or to introduce new elements before they escape the mind. Mobile phones are normally off, although sometimes people forget and one may ring occasionally. Micro meetings may take place, and that is just the company you're meeting with discussing amongst themselves. Meetings followed by lunch or dinner. Lunch is after 1. Dinner can be anywhere from 8 to 10 depending on the season. The host or the person who invites always pays. This is the end of the business part of this slide. Negotiations are slow for 2 reasons. Italians analyze risk very carefully. The hierarchy of Italian companies slow down decision making. It takes some time for it to reach the big boss up front who's making the decision. The key to negotiation table is patience. The better patience you'll have, the better you'll be. Post meeting, make sure you send up a follow letter. Needs to outline any agreements made to make sure there was no linguistic misunderstandings between the 2 parties. The Italian economy, like I said earlier, is very diversified between the north and the south regions. The north is an industrial powerhouse producing many items from food and machinery, textiles, iron and steel, and clothes. The south is mainly small enterprises sticking to agriculture and tourism. The south's top exports are wine, olive oil, vehicles, and chemicals. There's a big economic gap between the regions. The north may be well off, the south suffer higher unemployment, especially among young people and women. Employment is now at a 10-year low, 12.8%, and it's now currently at 10.5%. There's only 38% of women under 65 who are in the labor force, which I found out just insane. The politics in Italy have been around for 3,000 years. The first few thousand years, Italy was made up of many city-states, but in 1861, Victor Emmanuel II united all of Italy under one rule. It lasted as the fastest dictatorship until the end of World War II. In 1946, a constitution was established and a democratic republic based on civil law began. It was made up of 4-member bodies: the chief of state, the prime minister, the senate, and the chamber of deputies. Recent problems they've been facing is illegal immigration from Africa, Asia, and the Balkans. The citizens aren't very happy, mainly because the non-citizens are getting voting rights. Tensions are currently high, but most Italians are still welcoming a bunch of tourists and legal immigrants. Bonjour. Now some French basics. Population 65 million. French is official language. Euro is a currency. It's a very diverse population due to its roots of colonialism and immigration. Capital is Paris. It's a member of the European Union. The president is currently Emmanuel Macron, and it is also one of the strongest economies in the world. Some French cultural taboos. Don't start a conversation in English. They do not like that. Don't shake hands if you're exchanging la bise, which is just an air kiss. Don't ask about personal salaries. Don't contact people between 12 and 2. Don't put your hands in your pockets in public. Don't chew gum in public as it's considered vulgar. Do not criticize Napoleon no matter what you do. Also, do try and speak French, even if your French is completely awful, like mine. Do be polite. Do stand when a superior enters a room to show respect. Do make an effort to learn and respect French culture, and it will go a long way in getting respect from the French people for you. The most important thing to be successful in French business is to learn French. language. You don't have to be fluent, just make an effort, let them know you tried and that you appreciate their culture. The second thing is be well prepared. They're a stickler for details and for promptness. Business cards that are in business and French are a nice touch. It goes a long way. Also, greeting everyone in French with a simple bonjour can also go a long way. When you're setting up a meeting, email or call a secretary at least 2 weeks in advance. The French stick to very strict schedules. They also have shorter work weeks and more vacation, especially during the summertime. Most people take off weeks at a time. Relay who you are and who you wish to meet with. Be overly prepared. Have translations for everything to turn into whoever shows up to the meetings. That way they're not lost and there's no material lost in the language difference. Going into the meeting, make sure you're on time. Pass out your business cards from the secretary on up. Be organized, punctual, be confident and direct. It'll go a long way with the French people in gaining respect. Post meeting, make sure you type up and distribute the translated notes within 24 hours. The quicker, the better. Add unfinished business to agenda for next meeting. Make a follow-up phone call to make a lasting impression. Business meals is not common until the relationship is made, but once it is, it's perfectly okay as long as you follow proper table etiquette. Pay attention to where people are sitting because that can say a lot about who's who. Negotiations with the French can get kind of tricky. They're pretty risk averse and they take forever to get anything done. Although when they start repeating their viewpoints, that's when the negotiations are stalling. At that point, be prepared to defend yours and try and sway them. Just a few notes about the French economy with religious segmentation, with their trade. Also, their unemployment is still pretty high due to a stagnant economy, although it has dropped a couple of percentage points in the last few years. The French are part of a presidential parliamentary hybrid system. The four parts: the president, head of state, prime minister, head of the government, parliament, and the Senate. Current problems they're facing is the potential disbanding of the EU, drop of economic growth by over 1%, and immigration from neighboring countries. Hola, some quick Spanish facts. Population 47 million, capital is Madrid. Spanish is the primary language, 68% access to internet, and it's relatively new to the world market. Just a couple Spanish taboos. Don't go backslapping or hugging people you don't know. Don't discuss personal issues or the others. Do be trustworthy and honest. It's very important to them. Spain's business culture, the corporate social responsibility is pretty much non-existent until 2008 when they started a council. Now they're addressing those issues. Dress, make sure you dress very well. It signals social status and success. Bribery and corruption, both are illegal and rampant, but Spain has passed laws to crack down on them harder. Just some quick pre-meeting notes. Make sure you set it up in advance. Check their holiday schedule. Spain has many local, regional, national holidays. Choose a mid-morning time to avoid their siesta time. Arrange meetings with someone of equal status in the company. You don't want to outkick your coverage. Have executive summary typed up in English and Spanish. Same with the business cards as you do with the French. Bring examples as Spaniards enjoy seeing the product firsthand. Just some quick meeting etiquette. Make sure you establish a relationship first, as that will go a long way into y'all business dealings. Make sure you're making sense. If you're not, they won't tell you as they're trying to save their own face. Stick to the agenda so not to go off topic. This prevents confusion. Negotiations. Most senior members make the decision. You may not even meet them throughout the entire process. Post meeting, make sure you follow up and urgently. And if the relationship is there, invite them to dinner or another social gathering. Like I said earlier, Spain's economy is kind of late to the party. They began the establishment of the modern market economy in 1976 with the fall of Franco's dictatorship. Their main exports are food, textiles, electronics, and highly developed machinery. Northern region is engineering industries, chemical plants, and shipbuilding facilities. Immigration and tourism really sped along the process by bringing in the Western values and ideas into their country. Unemployment is fairly high with a peak of 26.3, although it has fallen down to today's low of 13.9%. Just some quick points on the politics of Spain. It's made up of 17 autonomous regions and 2 city-states, each with their own statutes that are written in the constitution and is an integral part of the Spanish state laws. They were under a fascist dictatorship for 40 years under General Francisco Franco, and in 1975. They are now a parliamentary democracy. They're active on the international scale in NATO and the EU. Government corruption is fairly high, although recently enacted legislation is cutting down on legal activity, and they're trying to right the ship.